Shalawam Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, Double One, to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalawam to Lekman out there doing this work of faith, the labor of love, and true sincerity. All right, and today I'm going to get into another episode of Hebrew tribes in West Africa, and today I'm going to touch on the Arada tribe. That's Arada, the Arada tribe. All right. Before we get into it, the purpose and main message of me doing, these episodes are for brothers, that may be either from West Africa or Africa in general, or your parents may be from there. Now you living in, America, and your spirit don't resonate with being, an African, but everything within your spirit is drawing you, that you're possibly an Israelite. And if that's the case, then just rock with the spirit, man. And, if the spirit is telling you that you're an Israelite, if your spirit resonates with this and you can't leave the word alone, then more than likely you are an Israelite. Because if you had the spirit of a heathen, and this will turn you off, you will know that within yourself, that this is not for you. So if that's the case, then just go with the spirit and, start doing your studies or whatever you need to do, to try to slowly but surely, be a part of the fold and, hopefully through the spirit, seal up salvation for yourself, man, So with that, I'm going to get into this and, for me getting into this information, I was doing a little research on Toussaint L'Ouverture, and doing and for those that may not be too familiar with him, I'm sure a lot of people are, but he was the leader of the Haitian Revolution or whatever, and through him, he really kicked it off and got everything going. Then his successor after him was Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who pretty much took over, because Toussaint died in, I believe, 1803, and then 1804, Haiti claimed their independence. All right, so me doing a little research on him, I actually came to find out that he was of the Arada tribe. Okay, so through him is how I trace, the essence of the Arada tribe and start getting a little into the history, so on and so forth. So we're gonna start off with a little history on Toussaint L'Ouverture. All right, and the document I got here, this is from NathanielTurner.com. All right, and it says the title is "More Than Just a Man: Toussaint's Earlier Years." All right, Pauline Galguinot walked slowly and heavily out of the chapel of Haut de Cap. She had been to mass, and a stream of slaves moved past her along the highway. They talked noisily of the happy days they had known in their native land and about the miseries of their present lives. One group hummed a strange, sad melody filled with all the unhappiness of slavery. An old Bambara negress named Pelagia, who was said to be able to foretell the future, went to Pauline, tested the girl's stomach with a spray of red laurel, and said solemnly, "Your womb is sharply pointed, Pauline. You will bring forth a man-child, and he will be a great chief." Right, so this is getting into the account of Toussaint L'Ouverture's mother, Pauline Galguinot. Now, what happened with her is, you had a Bambara negress, that's another Hebrew tribe in West Africa, the Bambaras, wound up touching her stomach, so-called foretelling the future. It said that you're going to have a son, he's going to be a great chief. All right, so reading on, says Pauline's husband, Prince Galguinot, was the second son of the king of the Arada tribe. He had been brought from Africa by a Portuguese trader among a batch of slaves acquired at the famous Whydah market in Dahomey, and 60 days later, after a terrible voyage, had been sold in the marketplace at Camp Francais in Haiti. Right, so Prince Galguinot was the second son of the king of the Arada tribe. Okay, so the king of the Arada tribe, his name was Galguinot. Then he had two sons, and his second son was named Prince Galguinot. So Prince Galguinot is the father of Toussaint L'Ouverture. Okay, and it said that he was sold at the famous Whydah market. Okay, over there in Dahomey, which today is called Benin. And as I said as I did before in the previous lesson, I brought it out that when you look up the term Whydah, it actually means Judah. And you can look it up on Wikipedia. It says Whydah, Judah, or a Judah. Okay, and they labeled it Judah because Esau knew that along that whole west coast that was the southern kingdom. Okay, that was the kingdom of Judah. That's why they labeled it Y the Market or Judah Market. Okay, and that was famous for what, the slave trade. Okay, so going on, it says, and what, he was sold into what, Haiti. Okay, and he was what, of the Arada tribe. Okay, so going on, it says Galginu were received into the Catholic faith. As so many Levites are, I believe, over there in Haiti. They say it's like 80% Catholic and like 20% Protestant or something like that. It says, in due course, he had married Pauline, a young woman of his own tribe, who was, according to one chronicler, both beautiful and lively. So Prince Galginu and so Toussaint Louverture's mother and father was of the Arada tribe. Okay, and it said what? That Pauline was called both beautiful and lively. So it's letting you know off the rip through the spirit that what? That she's an Israelite, man. Okay? Because what? You know that Hamitic woman is nothing lively about them at all, man. Alright, the scriptures say that what? That we are the salt of the earth. So for this Arada woman from the Arada tribe to be lively, that speaks volumes right there, So reading on, it says, Prince Galginu contributed towards Toussaint's education by teaching him the Arada language and the science of medicinal herbs. Later, the former accomplishment won him the support of the Arada slaves, all of them first-class warriors. Alright, so which leads me to my next point. It said that Arada was first-class warriors. And I read a quote from the book called Toussaint Louverture by Madison Smart Bell. And so on page 58, and it said that the Arada tribe, they were a warrior tribe, they were a warrior nation. Alright? And I did some research, and the brother helped me out with it. Looking up the word Arada, and we find out that the word Arada actually is a Hebrew word. Okay, and when you look up the word Arada, and I used the BabylonTranslation.com, when you actually use the modern characters of the modern, so-called modern Hebrew, and you put it in, from Hebrew to English, and it comes out as the definition says: to rule over, tyrannize, subjugate, to punish. Okay, to rule over, tyrannize, subjugate, and punish. So that's why they were labeled what? A warrior nation. And the Arada actually means to rule over, subjugate, tyrannize, punish. So that was their whole thing, man. That's what they were known for, and that's what they were good at. And what did the scripture say about us being warriors? Or another word for warriors is what? Soldiers. Okay? What? We have to be soldiers for YAHAWASHI. And what do we tell them out there on the highways and byways? What? We break it down the strongholds and all the lies and the bullshit of Esau, and we let them know that their future judgment, that we're going to tyrannize, we're going to subjugate, and we're going to punish them in our future kingdom, man, which will be very soon, Lord willing, man. Okay?
Yeah, and people may want to argue the fact that Levi wasn't a warrior tribe; they were a priestly tribe. But Paul said in Philippians 4:12 that I know how to abase, and I know how to abound. And that's what the ability to be able to adapt to any given situation. And that's a great trait that Jake has in general. So the tribe of Levi, being a Arada tribe in this time, what they had to adapt to their situations within this time period. Because Africa itself is like a big wilderness. Thousands of tribes fighting against one another, so Levi had to adapt to that. Alright, and keep in mind also what that Toussaint Louverture, who was of the Arada tribe himself, was the leader of the Haitian rebellion. Okay, showing that Levi has the ability to be a warrior nation. Alright, so and that brings me to my next point, digging further into the word Arada itself. Alright, and I have this excerpt from this book here. Alright, the primevity and preeminence of the sacred Hebrew above all other languages. Alright, that's only part of the title. The title is pretty long, but that's part of the title. Alright, and this book is by Benjamin Holloway. Alright, this book, it basically proves that the Hebrew is the former language of all languages upon the face of the earth. That Hebrew is the original language. Alright, so in this point that we're getting into now is comparing certain words of the Arabic compared unto the Hebrew. Alright, so it says, but neither is this all, But here is another blunder with respect of the Arabic also, in making their own art, the earth, to have been derived from the root Arada, dispresses suit, which is another piece of confusion as bad as any supposed to have happened at Babel. For the noun ard, the earth, and the verb arada, to be depressed or situated lowermost, have in reality nothing to do with one another. Alright, so these Arabs with this Arabic language, they took the word ard and made that to be the earth. Okay, but in the Hebrew, the word earth is aratazah, and the word ard in the Hebrew is really arada. So they tried to make the two link up, but they actually have nothing to do with one another. They're two totally separate different words which come from two totally different root words. Alright? So it says, reading on, this is the point here. It says, the said arada itself being derived from another Hebrew root. Okay, the said arada itself being derived from another Hebrew root. So it's letting you know the derivation of the word arada comes from a Hebrew root. Alright? With addition, as is common, of an in the beginning. Visually, radad, to spread, to cast beneath. So the root word of arada is the Hebrew word radad, which means to spread or to cast beneath. Going back to the definition on BabylonTranslation.com, how it said what? Arada means to rule over, to subjugate, to tyrannize, and to punish. And what do you do when you're punishing a nation? You're casting them beneath you. You're making them beneath you. Alright? And that's exactly what Toussaint L'Ouverture did and the Levites did, okay, in that Haitian rebellion. They punished them, they cast them beneath them. And that's what arada means, to cast beneath. Slaki, that's what radad means, to cast beneath. So that's what they did in that instance. And that's what the Arada tribe did in general. They ruled over, they subjugate, they tyrannize, and they punish their enemies. They cast them beneath them. Alright?
So that lets you know what? That the Arada tribe, that's the basis of letting you know that the Arada tribe are a Hebrew tribe, because the word Arada itself is a Hebrew word. Okay? So going on, it says, the latter invested him in the eyes of the Negroes with the reputation of being a great sorcerer who was able to commune with the good spirits. So it said that what? That he was a great sorcerer, communicating with good spirits. Now with the tribe of Levi, what does that remind you of? That reminds you of what? Voodoo. Okay? And, you know, getting ready to go into the next point, you know, the Arada tribe, they were well student in voodoo. And actually, they were the originators of voodoo itself. And you have many different sects, you know, of voodoo today, you know, among different areas, different tribes, and so on and so forth. But every different tribe or every different sect of voodoo, that when they does their ceremonies, they pay homage to the Rada or Arada spirits first, because they say that they're the oldest spirits or the progenitors of the voodoo itself. So whenever they have their ceremonies, they pay homage to the Rada spirits, and then they pay homage to their spirits, okay? Because they have different spirits, like good spirits, evil spirits, neutral spirits, different spirits, okay? So they always pay homage to the Rada spirits first, and then they pay homage to their spirits, okay? So, yeah, from that, which leads me into the next point, getting into the voodoo, all right? And so I got this next point here from, this is the book, The Story of Jazz by Marshall Winslow Stearns, okay? And it says, 4 tribes each from the vicinity of Nigeria and Dahomey are specified, however, which bears out the preferences of French and Spanish planters. Further, Cable mentions the slave coast, which included Dahomey, and singles out for comment the half-civilized and quick-witted but ferocious Arada. And what he labeled them ferocious, because what, they were a warrior nation, okay? It says, and quick-witted but ferocious Arada, the original voodoo worshiper, a Dahomey tribesman. Since voodoo has survived in the United States to this day, the mention of the Arada tribe, as we have discovered, is significant. Okay, speaking of the parallel example of Haiti. Okay, so they are aligning what? Arada with Haiti. Okay. All right. It says, Corland says the Igbos learned the dances of the Congos, the Arada of the Senegalese, and yet one culture came to dominate the whole, that of the Dahomeyans. So right, so they're letting you know that what the Arada tribe, they were the original of the voodoo itself, the original voodoo worshippers, and that they mentioned what the Arada tribe in line with Haiti, because as we went over so far, that Prince Galginu and his wife, they were both of the Arada tribe, and Galginu, he was brought from the wider market in Dahomey, where the Arada mainly live, and brought into Cape Francais, which is in Haiti. Okay, and keep in mind too that when I say that the Arada are of the tribe of Levi, I'm not saying every single person of the Arada tribe is of the tribe of Levi, because we know it still had to be scattered, with Benjamin and Levi, of course, but predominantly the Arada tribe is of the tribe of Levi, predominantly. All right, so going on to the next point. Okay, keep in mind that what they're of, Dahomey. Okay, so it says, well, this is from the next book. Next excerpt is from a book that called Haitian Voodoo by Mambo Chita Tan. All right, this is in the beginning of chapter 4. It says, before there was a Haiti, before Columbus set foot on an island he named Hispaniola, and before the first slave ship reached the shores of Haiti, the mountainous island of the Taino, the seeds of the largest trees in the Haitian voodoo forest were already growing in the form of voodoo, a magical and religious practice in the area of West Africa called Arada, now part of the modern-day nation of Benin. Okay, because that's what it's called now. Before it was called Dahomey, but now it's called Benin. All right, when the coastal Ajah tribe of the Arada or Alada kingdom conquered their neighboring inland tribes, a kingdom called Dahomey was born. From Dahomey came, now from the area of Dahomey, which is modern day Benin, from Dahomey came the bulk of those peoples imported as slaves into Hispaniola, the beginnings of modern Haiti's citizenry. Okay, so as I said, majority of Jakes that was dwelling in the land of Dahomey, they were brought into Haiti. So letting you know that majority of those Jakes were of the tribe of Levi. Maybe not every single one of them, but predominantly those Jakes were of the tribe of Levi, because they were brought from the coast of Dahomey into Haiti. Okay, so going on, it says the Rada Lao. Okay, they have it. Lao is LWA. The word LWA is actually Lao, which means spirits. So whenever they have the word, they have the letters LWA here, it actually means spirit. So I'm going to substitute Lao with the word spirits. All right. So it says the Rada spirits are considered to be older, and thus in some ways more venerable than other groups of spirits served in Haitian voodoo, as they represent the resin or root spirits that slaves brought to Haiti. The Rada form the basis of Haitian voodoo's African heritage, and in fact many of them are still served or honored in Africa, though sometimes under different names and in a different fashion. Right, so as I said, the Rada, they were considered the older, because they were the original voodoo worshippers. They really kicked it off and said what they represent the resin or the root of it, because like as I said before, amongst the different sets of voodoo, the Rada spirits are always worshipped first, because they're the older and the originators, and then they would worship their spirits separately. All right. Yeah. So with that, the next point is that, brothers, you get a chance, watch the documentary called Roots of Division by Henry Louis Gates. The brother of my camp, the brother YAHAWASHI, he put me on that, and it's about Simeon and Levi. And the documentary goes straight in accordance with the prophecy of Simeon and Levi in Genesis 49. How it says, my soul come not into thy assembly, and how the island is split, and so on and so forth. And it's a great documentary and with good edification.
Right, so in this clip, you got Henry Louis Gates. He's going to be interviewing a voodoo priest, and you're going to hear the voodoo priest mentioning the different nations that were in West Africa that practiced voodoo. Okay, but I want you to pay attention to the fact that he mentions Dahomey. Okay, and that's what our focus is on Dahomey, and that the Arada come out of the coast of Dahomey. All right.
Vodou is a complex belief system, a religion as sophisticated as any other religion.
In many of the New World black societies, it's not respectable to admit that you practice Vodou. But here, people are very proud, they seem to be.
Of course, sure, we're very proud.
Why?
In fact, we cannot even see ourselves differently. In fact, that's the only way we see ourselves. In fact, let me say that what characterizes the Haitian nation as a nation is the pride they have for their forefathers and for their heritage. When other people say, come on, you poor, we know we are rich in our own ways. We are rich spiritually.
Max Beauvoir is a biochemist, trained at City College in New York City and the Sorbonne in Paris. For the past 30 years, he's been the Hungan, the high priest of one of Haiti's most important home fours, or Vodou temples. Max believes that Vodou's embrace of nature places it at the core of Haitian identity.
I would say it's the aim of Vodou. When Vodou was constructed itself, the point was to include into it each group.
Each African...
So in fact, Senegal was part of it, Mali was part of it, Dahomey was part of it, Dahomey was part of it, Dahomey was part of it, the upper Nigeria was part of it, southern Nigeria with the Igbos were also part of it. What we have the northern Congos with Cameroon and Gabon, they were also part of it.
Now, it's one last point that I want to bring out as far as the customs of the priest or the priestess, because they have, so-called priestess, and in voodoo as well. All right, and this is from blog.voodooboston.com. All right, and it says the Rada spirits. All right, it says note: when serving Rada spirits, the individual should be as clean as possible. In addition to bodily hygiene, this means no sex for 24 hours prior to saluting Rada spirits. So the first point, it said that the individual should be as clean as possible, and that goes into the script here. Exodus 30:19. For Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands and their feet whereat when they go into the tabernacle of the congregation, they shall wash with water that they die not, or when they come near the altar to minister to burn offerings made by fire unto the Lord, they shall wash their hands and their feet that they die not, and it shall be a statute forever to them, even to him, to his seed throughout their generations. So with them, they said what they must, basically wash, and be as clean as possible. Now here in the scriptures, it said that Aaron and the priests, they must wash their hands and their feet, unless they come into the temple and they die, because they had to, you're walking on holy property, you know what I'm saying, of the Lord. And it said the key point here, too, that I wanted to mention said, and it shall be a statute forever to them, even to him and to his seed throughout their generations. So the Most High still had it within Levi's spirit that from the old times when the sons of Aaron and all of them, they really kicked it off and had to keep those traditions, those laws, statutes, commandments given by YAHAWASHI. It still resonates down to Levi today to be as clean as possible when they're doing their ceremonies, man. And going to the other point, it said that that they have to abstain from sex for 24 hours, but basically before performing the ceremonies, okay? And for the script on that is Leviticus 15:16. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean till evening. So what is that? That's basically what a 24-hour period. Even if you popped your woman the day before, then you would have to wait till the night, not the same night, but the day after. So it's basically a 24-hour period, or possibly a little over a 24-hour period whatsoever, what have you. But you'll be unclean, to the next night, which basically is around the 24-hour period, okay? So reading on in that other point, just one last quick point before we wrap it up. It says, women should have their hair bound in a white headscarf as a sign of respect to the spirits. So as a sign of respect to the spirits, the woman had to have their head wrapped up, okay, in a white headscarf. And that goes right in accordance with 1 Corinthians 11:5. But unto every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered, dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. Jumping to verse 7. For a man indeed not ought to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of the Most High, but the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power over her head because of the angels. In the same way that they do it today, the woman having her hair wrapped up in respect for the spirits, because they don't really worship different gods. They worship one God. They call it the good God, and I believe the term is Shalaki. I forgot the term. If I remember it, I'll put it up. I forgot the term for God, whatever, but they have one term for God, which basically means good God. Then they have the lesser spirits, which is the Lao. Okay, those are like their angels who make intercession, you know, unto their one true power, their so-called one true power. All right. So that's how it is. What for us? We have the angels, which are the lesser spirits. We don't worship them, but when we throw up our prayers and we pray to the Lord, the angels are there to make intercession and to hold our prayers and present them unto the Most High. So it's the same way. So the Most High have Levi today keeping some of the same customs, you know, as they did back in the ancient world, you know. So, you know, with that, you know, just a quick recap as far as, you know, to Song the Overture and his family going back to the Arada tribe, and the Arada tribe dealing with being the originators of the voodoo and living in the coast of Dahomey, and from Dahomey, you know, came, you know, the voodoo and the Levites all into, you know, Haiti, you know, so on and so forth, you know. So basically, you know, I hope I hit the point of explaining, you know, and getting across the point that the Arada tribe are the tribe of Levi predominantly. And, you know, I just hope brothers is edified. You know, once again, brothers, if, you know, that may be of, you know, West African tribe or whatsoever, what have you. If your spirit resonates with being an Israelite, just go with the spirit. You know what I'm saying? And just pray, have faith, and trust in YAHAWASHI, and He'll see you through. You know what I'm saying? You know, so with that, you know, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalawam, select men out there, doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalawam, and death to America.